ladies and gentlemen, as the night gently wraps around us, let us pause and turn our hearts to God. Imagine His peace descending like a soft light into your room, filling every corner, calming every thought. Every worry, every fear, every burden you carry can be laid down before Him. Whisper a prayer of surrender, asking Him to guard your mind, soothe your spirit, and bring rest to your soul. Feel the heaviness lift as His presence saturates the air around you. In this sacred moment, allow His love to envelop you, silence every doubt, and let serenity flow through your being. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, as the darkness of the evening slowly envelopes your surroundings, there is a gentle call to stillness, a sacred invitation to pause, breathe, and focus on the one who holds all things in His hands. Life moves at a relentless pace, carrying us through hours filled with responsibilities, worries, and distractions. And by the time the day winds down, our minds are often a storm of thoughts, anxieties, and unspoken fears. In moments like these, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, to believe that peace is distant or even unattainable. Yet, there exists a power far greater than any challenge, far stronger than any worry. And it is God's peace. It is a peace that transcends understanding, a peace that does not depend on circumstances or external comfort, but rests in the assurance of His presence. Inviting this peace into your room, into your very heart, is not a complicated ritual. It is an act of faith, a deliberate choice to acknowledge that God is here. He is aware and He cares. The first step in embracing this divine peace is intentionality. As you enter your room, let your mind recognize that this is a sacred space, a place set apart from the noise and chaos of the day. Visualize the room around you bathed in a soft, calming light, a reflection of the serenity that God wants to pour into your life. Every corner, every object, every shadow becomes a vessel through which His presence can manifest. It is in this quiet recognition that the mind begins to slow and the heart opens. Begin by taking deep, deliberate breaths. With each inhale, imagine drawing in God's peace, allowing it to fill your lungs, your chest, your entire being. With each exhale, release tension, release worry, release fear, acknowledging that you do not have to carry the weight of today alone. As you breathe, speak to God in your own words or in silence, offering your heart and mind to Him. Tell Him of the burdens that have weighed you down, the moments that brought anxiety or confusion, and let Him know your desire for calm, for rest, and for His perfect peace. Prayer is more than words. It is a posture of surrender, a bridge between your humanity and the infinite love and wisdom of God. As you continue to invite His peace, imagine it flowing like a river, starting at the top of your head, cascading down your shoulders, filling your chest, your arms, your hands, and moving down through your legs, your feet, touching every part of your being. Feel it penetrate the deepest recesses of your mind where worries often hide, dissolving tension, quieting racing thoughts, and bringing clarity. This peace is not passive, it is active and transformative. It does not simply mask problems or distract you from them. It empowers you to view them with calm, to face tomorrow with renewed strength, and to rest securely in the knowledge that God is in control. Visualize the energy of the day, the tasks, the interruptions, the conversations, and the emotions, all gently settling down into stillness under the weight of His calming presence. Imagine that the walls of your room themselves absorb this peace, creating a sanctuary where nothing can disturb your inner calm. Your space becomes more than a physical location. It becomes a spiritual refuge where God's peace actively dwells. And as this atmosphere settles, your mind begins to release what it has clung to unnecessarily. Thoughts of doubt and worry may arise, but instead of resisting them with tension, simply acknowledge them and allow them to drift away as leaves floating down a quiet stream. This is not ignoring life's realities. It is trusting that God's peace can coexist with challenges and, in fact, can transform how those challenges are perceived and experienced. In this sacred quiet, there is room to reflect on the goodness of God, the faithfulness that has carried you through previous days, and the quiet assurance that no moment, no fear, no difficulty is beyond His reach. Gratitude naturally begins to surface, not as a forced act, but as an organic response to feeling His presence saturate your environment. Recognize the small victories, the simple joys, and even the lessons hidden in difficulties. Understanding that peace is not only about the absence of problems, but about the presence of God's sustaining power amid them. Engage your senses in this experience. Feel the texture of your surroundings. Notice the soft glow of a lamp or the quiet darkness of the night. Listen to the subtle sounds of your room, the hum of the night outside, and allow these gentle stimuli to remind you that you are alive, you are safe, and you are held. Every breath becomes a prayer, every heartbeat a rhythm of surrender, every thought an opportunity to invite more of His calm into your spirit. As you immerse yourself in this moment, let go of the need to fix everything, to solve every problem, or to anticipate tomorrow. Let the present hour be enough, a sacred pause where God's peace can flow unhindered. This practice, repeated night after night, transforms your room from a mere physical space into a sanctuary of serenity, where worries lose their power, fears dissolve into trust, and the soul finds the quiet it has long sought. Through this intentional invitation, the act of ending your day becomes a sacred ritual, a consistent turning toward God, and a conscious choice to prioritize peace over anxiety, presence over distraction, and trust over fear. Each night, this ritual reinforces the truth that peace is not a distant aspiration, but a present reality accessible through faith, reflection, and the deliberate opening of your heart to God's presence, allowing His divine calm to settle fully into your life, saturating your room, and permitting every thought and feeling with tranquility. Ladies and gentlemen, as the evening descends and the world around you grows quiet, there is a sacred opportunity to lay down the burdens of the day, to release the weight that has pressed heavily upon your shoulders, and to entrust all that you carry into the hands of God. Each day brings challenges, responsibilities, and unexpected moments that test the strength of your spirit, and often by nightfall, your mind is crowded with worries, regrets, and anticipations for tomorrow. Yet, in the quiet of this moment, there exists a divine invitation to surrender, to intentionally place every burden before the Almighty, and to allow His peace to permeate your heart. Surrender is not an act of weakness. It is an acknowledgement of God's sovereignty, His power, and His infinite care for you. It is the conscious decision to step out of the exhausting cycle of trying to control every circumstance and to trust that He is able, that He sees, and that He works all things together for your good. Begin by acknowledging the burdens that weigh on your heart. They may be financial pressures, emotional struggles, relational tensions, or fears about the future. Name them either aloud or silently, allowing each concern to be brought into the light of God's presence. Visualize placing them in His hands, feeling the physical and emotional relief that comes from transferring responsibility to the one who never sleeps, never grows weary, and whose wisdom surpasses human understanding. As you surrender these burdens, notice the tension begin to ease, the tightness in your chest softening, and the restless thoughts slowing. This act of giving over your worries is not about denying reality or ignoring challenges. It is about choosing the divine perspective over your limited understanding. Trusting God means recognizing that He is not distant or indifferent, but intimately involved in every detail of your life, and that His plans are higher, wiser, and perfectly timed. In this surrender, prayer becomes your bridge. Speak to God as you would to a loving parent, a faithful friend, or a trusted guide. Express your struggles, your fears, your disappointments, and your hopes. Pour out your heart honestly, without pretense or fear, knowing that He listens with attentive love and responds with guidance, comfort, and peace. Prayer is not only a verbal act, it is a posture of the heart, a spiritual alignment where your will becomes receptive to God's will, where your strength is replenished, and where your soul experiences the profound calm that comes from being held by the Creator. As you continue to surrender, imagine each burden dissolving, replaced by a sense of divine order and serenity. Picture your mind and heart as a vessel once cluttered and heavy, now gradually emptied and filled with light, calm, and trust. The act of surrender transforms your perception. Problems that once seemed insurmountable now appear manageable under God's guidance. Fears shrink in the presence of His strength, and the heart begins to rest, knowing that tomorrow is held in His hands as well. Reflection deepens this surrender. Recall moments from your past when God has carried you through difficulties, when His timing was perfect, and when His peace came in unexpected ways. Let these memories reinforce your faith, reminding you that He is trustworthy, that His love never fails, and that the burdens of today are not too heavy for Him to handle. Gratitude naturally arises as a companion to surrender. Thank God not only for the relief that comes from releasing your worries, but also for His continual presence, His guidance, and the lessons embedded in the challenges you face. Gratitude shifts the focus from scarcity and struggle to abundance and divine care, reminding you that every concern is met with God's wisdom and every challenge carries the potential for growth and blessing. Visualization enhances this process. Picture your burdens as tangible objects in your hands and see yourself placing them gently before God. Watch as His light envelops them, lifting them from your grasp, and feel the peace that fills the space where anxiety once dwelled. Imagine this light extending throughout your room, spreading warmth, calm, and a sense of security. Your space becomes more than a physical setting. It becomes a sanctuary, a place where surrender is practiced, peace is welcomed, and the soul is replenished. The act of surrender is also an exercise in trust. Understand that God does not require you to solve everything, plan every detail, or control every outcome. He asks for your willingness to rely on Him, to acknowledge His authority, and to believe that His plans are perfect even when they are unseen. Each night that you consciously surrender, you strengthen this trust, reinforcing the habit of bringing every concern to God before sleep, making His guidance, peace, and provision a consistent part of your life. In this sacred routine, your mind learns to release control, your heart learns to rest, and your spirit experiences the gentle reassurance that comes from being aligned with God's will. With every breath, imagine tension leaving your body, anxiety melting away, and a profound calm taking root within you. Your heart beats in rhythm with divine order, your thoughts slow to a gentle flow, and your spirit begins to feel the rest it has been longing for. Surrender transforms not only the night, but the person you become. It cultivates patience, deepens faith, and nurtures a resilient peace that carries into each new day. As you continue to practice this surrender, you will find that the burdens that once seemed heavy no longer dominate your mind, that fear no longer dictates your emotions, and that your soul experiences the freedom that comes from trusting God completely, placing every weight into His hands, and resting in the certainty of His unwavering care. Ladies and gentlemen, as the day comes to a close and the quiet of night surrounds you, there is a unique opportunity to pause and allow God's presence to fill your heart and mind. Often, life moves so rapidly that we forget to give our spirits the attention they need, rushing from one task to another, thinking about what was done, what needs to be done, and what might go wrong tomorrow. In such moments, it is easy for anxiety to creep in, for worries to weigh heavily on the mind, and for the soul to feel restless. Yet, there exists a source of peace that is constant, unfailing, and immeasurable: God Himself. Inviting His presence into your heart at the end of the day is a conscious act, a deliberate choice to open the door of your inner being and allow the tranquility that comes from Him to settle deeply within. Start by creating stillness around yourself. Turn off distractions, quiet the external noise, and let your body and mind sense that this is a moment set apart, a sacred time for communion with God. As the quiet settles, take a few deep, intentional breaths. Inhale slowly, imagining the very essence of God's calm entering your being, filling your chest, your arms, your mind, and even your heart's deepest corners. Exhale slowly, releasing the tension, the stress, and the worries that have accumulated throughout the day. Each breath becomes a rhythm of surrender, a dance of trust between you and the Creator who knows you completely and loves you unconditionally. With this calm established, begin to speak to God, not only with words, but with the silent language of your heart. Share with Him the events of the day, the moments of joy, the moments of struggle, and the emotions that surfaced, whether they were calm or turbulent. Allow Him to know everything that resides within, for He is not only listening, but intimately engaged with your life, understanding each detail and responding with a perfect and gentle wisdom. As you speak and reflect, imagine God's presence like a soft light filling your chest, spreading warmth and clarity throughout your being. This light reaches the places where fear, doubt, and restlessness have taken root, transforming them with His serenity. Feel the heaviness lift, feel the tension melt, and notice how your thoughts begin to slow, moving from a rapid torrent to a gentle stream. In this moment, your heart recognizes that it is held, that it is cared for, and that it is safe. Allow this sense of security to grow, embracing the reality that no circumstance is beyond His reach and that every concern can be entrusted to Him. Contemplate the day's experiences not as burdens to carry into the night, but as lessons, opportunities, and steps along the journey of your life. See how God has been present in subtle ways, guiding, protecting, and teaching, even when you were unaware. By acknowledging His hand in both the mundane and the extraordinary, your heart begins to align with His purposes, and peace naturally flows as trust deepens. Engage your imagination in this experience. Picture the room around you transforming into a sanctuary, a space where God's presence is tangible, where His calm radiates in every corner, where each object, each shadow, each gentle sound contributes to an atmosphere of spiritual rest. Imagine His peace flowing not only into your mind, but also into your emotions, bringing resolution to inner conflicts, softening the sharp edges of fear or regret, and infusing your soul with a sense of balance and harmony. Prayer in this context becomes more than a request. It becomes a dialogue, a fellowship, a communion where the heart and mind are aligned with God's will and His love. Speak of your needs, your aspirations, and your concerns, but also listen. In the stillness, God communicates in subtle ways through thoughts that bring clarity, through emotions that bring calm, through an inner knowing that all is well. Let these gentle whispers guide your reflection, helping you release control where it is unnecessary and embrace trust where it is needed. Gratitude amplifies this process. Thank God for His constant presence, for the lessons of the day, for the strength that carried you through challenges, and for the opportunities to grow spiritually and emotionally. Gratitude is not merely an acknowledgement, but an active participation in the rhythm of divine peace. Each thankful thought reinforces the connection to God's love and magnifies the tranquility that now permeates your being. As your heart absorbs this peace, allow it to extend outward, filling the atmosphere of your room, saturating the space with calm, and creating an environment where nothing can disturb the serenity you are cultivating. Your room becomes a reflection of your inner state, a sanctuary not only for your body, but for your spirit, where rest is nurture and renewal is invited. Let this presence of God influence your perception of the day and your outlook for tomorrow. Understand that peace is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of God within the midst of them. By allowing His presence to fill your heart, you are empowered to face future trials with courage, to approach tomorrow with renewed strength, and to carry a sense of calm that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Reflect on the depth of this experience as a form of training for the soul. With each night spent in mindful communion with God, your spirit becomes more attuned to His guidance, your mind more resistant to anxiety, and your heart more anchored in faith. The act of inviting His presence into your heart is transformative. It reshapes your relationship with yourself, with your challenges, and with the world around you. This practice encourages a rhythm of rest, reflection, and surrender that permeates not just the night, but the entirety of your life, teaching the soul to recognize peace as a choice, a habit, and a divine gift. Each breath, each prayer, and each moment of awareness contributes to a profound sense of serenity, reinforcing the truth that God's presence is not distant or abstract, but near, tangible, and available in every quiet hour. Through this continuous communion, you learn to experience the stillness that calms your mind, to embrace the rest that rejuvenates your body, and to accept the love that heals your soul, allowing the peace of God to dwell richly within you and shape the way you perceive, respond, and live each day. Ladies and gentlemen, as the night settles around you and the world quiets, there is a sacred moment to experience the quiet assurance of God's love surrounding you. Often, our days are filled with tension, distraction, and a constant rush of responsibilities, leaving the mind restless and the heart heavy. The moments before sleep are perhaps the most important, for they provide an opportunity to pause, reflect, and open your spirit to the divine presence that never abandons, never falters, and never ceases to care. In these still hours, God's love is not an abstract idea, but a living reality, ready to envelop your entire being, to provide comfort, guidance, and strength beyond human understanding. Begin by recognizing the weight you carry, the worries, the regrets, the unspoken fears, and bring them into conscious awareness. Acknowledge them without resistance, for it is in acknowledgement that the heart begins to release tension. Then, in a deliberate act of faith, envision God's love surrounding you like a protective light, forming a shield around your mind, your heart, and your soul. Feel it settle over you gently, a warmth that penetrates every corner of your being, filling spaces that anxiety, doubt, or fear have occupied. This is not a fleeting sensation, but a profound truth. You are known, you are seen, and you are cherished by the Creator who made you. As you embrace this assurance, let your attention drift inward, focusing on the rhythm of your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, and the subtle beating of your heart. Each breath becomes a conduit through which God's love flows, replenishing your spirit, calming your thoughts, and soothing the tension that has built up throughout the day. Picture each inhalation drawing His presence deeper into you, and each exhalation releasing the strain and worry that no longer need to reside within you. In this space of calm, speak to God in the language of your heart. Share your gratitude for the day, even for its challenges, and acknowledge your desire to rest fully in His care. Confess the worries that cling tightly and surrender them into His hands, trusting that His love is sufficient to bear them all. Understand that surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a recognition of divine strength and wisdom far beyond human capacity. As you speak and reflect, allow your imagination to engage with the reality of His love. Visualize it as a protective embrace, a radiant light that fills your room, a presence that cannot be disturbed by fear or distraction. This visualization helps your mind align with spiritual truth, reinforcing the sense that you are never alone, that even in the quiet of night, you are surrounded by a power and care that surpasses all understanding. Let the assurance of God's love penetrate your thoughts. Consider the challenges you have faced, the uncertainties that linger, and the moments of doubt. See them now from the perspective of His presence, where each difficulty is met with guidance, each fear is countered by protection, and each uncertainty is held securely in His hands. The mind begins to release its grip on worry, and the heart experiences the gentle restoration that comes from being fully known and fully loved. This practice also invites a deep sense of gratitude. Give thanks for the sustaining presence of God throughout the day, for the small mercies that often go unnoticed, and for the constant reality of His care. Gratitude magnifies the perception of love, allowing your soul to recognize how extensively it is surrounded, how completely it is held, and how profoundly it is valued. As you continue to focus on this divine assurance, feel it extending beyond your personal boundaries. Sense the warmth of His love saturating the atmosphere of your room, touching every object, every corner, and creating an environment where peace and security thrive. Your room transforms into more than a physical space. It becomes a sanctuary, a spiritual refuge, where the heart can rest and the soul can rejuvenate, a space intentionally filled with the comfort and protection of God's presence. Engage with the sensations of this experience. Notice how your body responds to the assurance of being surrounded by love. Shoulders relax, tension in the chest eases, the mind quiets, and a calm pervades every thought. The heart, once restless with anxieties, now beats in rhythm with a divine cadence, steady, secure, and peaceful. Recognize that this assurance is not dependent on external circumstances. Even when the world is uncertain, even when challenges loom, the love of God remains steadfast, a constant anchor in the storms of life. This truth fosters courage, allowing you to face tomorrow with confidence, to approach challenges with resilience, and to carry a sense of calm that remains unaffected by temporary difficulties. Reflection deepens this experience. Consider the ways God's love has been evident throughout your life, through protection, guidance, and provision, even when unseen. Allow the memory of past mercies to reinforce trust in His ongoing care. Each recollection of His faithfulness strengthens the soul, reminding you that love surrounds you not just tonight, but always in every circumstance, in every moment. As you meditate on this divine assurance, Notice how it transforms your perspective. Worries lose their intensity, fears diminish in the presence of love, and the mind opens to clarity and hope. Each thought is filtered through the lens of divine care, each emotion tempered by the recognition of being fully supported and cherished. This awareness encourages a lasting peace, an inner stillness that is not temporary, but cultivated through repeated practice, through intentional focus, and through the conscious act of welcoming God's love into your heart and environment. Through this process, your spirit learns to rest, your heart learns to trust, and your mind learns to dwell in calm. Each night becomes an opportunity to reaffirm the reality that you are surrounded, that you are protected, and that you are deeply, unconditionally loved. This practice nurtures a resilient serenity, one that carries into each new day, influencing how you perceive challenges, interact with others, and respond to the unpredictability of life. With every breath, every reflection, every moment of intentional awareness, the quiet assurance of God's love deepens within you, saturating your being and creating a foundation of peace, security, and spiritual strength that transforms not only the night, but every facet of your life.